Article 110 General Requirements. Part 3. 1. In places accessible to unqualified persons.
Indoor electrical installations that are accessible to unqualified persons shall be made with metal enclosed equipment.
Switchgear, transformers, pull boxes, connection boxes, and other similar associated equipment shall be marked with appropriate caution signs. Openings in ventilated dry-type transformers or similar openings in other equipment shall be designed so that foreign objects inserted through these openings are deflected from energized parts.
2. In places accessible to qualified persons only. Indoor electrical installations considered accessible only to qualified persons in accordance with this section shall comply with 110.34, 110.36, and 490.24. Table 110.31 Minimum distance from fence to live pods. Minimum distance to live pods. Nominal voltage M feet 1001 minus 13,799 13,800 minus 230,000 over 2,300,000 3.05 10 4.57 15 5.49 18 C. 1. In places accessible to unqualified persons. Outdoor electrical installations that are open to unqualified persons shall comply with Parts I, 2, and 3 of Article 225. 2. In places accessible to qualified persons only. Outdoor electrical installations that have exposed live parts shall be accessible to qualified persons only in accordance with the first paragraph of this section, and shall comply with 110.34, 110.36, and 490.24. The enclosed equipment accessible to unqualified persons.
Ventilating or similar openings in equipment shall be designed such that foreign objects inserted through these openings are deflected from energized parts. Where exposed to physical damage from vehicular traffic, suitable guards shall be provided.
Equipment located outdoors and accessible to unqualified persons shall be designed such that exposed nuts or bolts cannot be readily removed, permitting access to live parts. Where equipment is accessible to unqualified persons and the bottom of the enclosure is less than 2.5 meters 8 feet above the floor or grade level, the enclosure door or hinged cover shall be kept locked.
Doors and covers of enclosures used solely as pull boxes, splice boxes, or junction boxes shall be locked, bolted, or screwed on. Underground box covers that weigh over 45.4 kilograms 1 pound shall be considered as meeting this requirement.
110.3 To workspace about equipment.
Sufficient space shall be provided and maintained about electrical equipment to permit ready and safe operation and maintenance of such equipment.
Where energized parts are exposed, the minimum clear workspace shall be not less than 2.0 meters 61 2 feet high measured vertically from the floor or platform, or not less than 914 millimeters 3 feet wide, measured parallel to the equipment. The depth shall be as required in 11030 for A. In all cases, the workspace shall permit at least a 90-degree opening of doors or hinged panels.
110.33 Entrance to enclosures and access to working space. A entrance. At least one entrance to enclosures for electric-CAO installations, as described in 110.31, not less than 610 mm 24 in. Wide and 2.0 meters 61 feet high shall be provided to give access to the working space about electrical equipment.
1. Large equipment.
On switchgear and control panels exceeding 1.8 meters 6 feet in width, there shall be one entrance at each end of the equipment. A single entrance to the required working space shall be permitted where either of the conditions in 11033 or 1A or 1B is met.
An unobstructed exit. Where the location permits a continuous and unobstructed way of exit travel, a single entrance to the working space shall be permitted.
B. Extra working space. Where the depth of the working space is twice that required by 11030 for A, a single entrance shall be permitted. It shall be located so that the distance from the equipment to the nearest edge of the entrance is not less than the minimum clear distance specified in Table 11034A for equipment operating at that voltage and in that condition. 2. Guarding.
Where bare energized parts at any voltage or insulated energized parts above 1000 volts, nominal, are located adjacent to such entrance, they shall be suitably guarded. 3. Personnel doors. Where there is a personnel door is intended for entrance to and egress from the working space less than 7.6 meters 25 feet from the nearest edge of the working space, the door shall open in the direction of egress and be equipped with listed panic hardware.
B. Access. Permanent ladders or stairways shall be provided to give safe access to the working space around electrical equipment installed on platforms, balconies, or mezzanine floors, or in attic or roof rooms or spaces. 110.3 for workspace and guarding. A working space, except as elsewhere required or permitted in this code, equipment likely to require examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance while energized shall have clear working space in the direction of access to live parts of the electrical equipment, and shall be not less than specified in Table 11030 for A. Distances shall be measured from the live parts, if such are exposed, or from the enclosure front or open ing, if such are enclosed. Exception: working space shall not be required in back of equipment, such as switchgear or control assemblies where there are no renewable or adjustable parts such as fuses or switches on the back, and where all connections are accessible from locations other than the back. Where rear access is required to work on non-electrical parts on the back of enclosed equipment, a minimum working space of 760 mm 30 in horizontally shall be provided. B. Separation from low voltage equipment, where switches, cutouts, or other equipment operating at 1000 volts, nominal, or less are installed in a vault, room, or enclosure where there are exposed live parts or exposed wiring operating at over 1000 volts, nominal. The high voltage equipment shall be effectively separated from the space occupied by the low voltage equipment by a suitable partition, fence, or screen. Exception: switches or other equipment operating at 1000 volts, NOMI NEL, or less, and serving only equipment within the high voltage vault, room, or enclosure shall be permitted to be installed in the high voltage vault, room, or enclosure without a partition, fence, or screen if accessibility to qualified persons only. See locked rooms or enclosures. The entrance to all build INGs, vaults, rooms, or enclosures containing exposed live parts or exposed conductors operating at over 1000 volts, nominal, shall be kept locked unless such entrances are under the observation of a qualified person at all times. Table 11034A. Minimum depth of clear working space at electrical equipment, nominal minimum clear distance voltage at a ground condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, 1001 to 2500 V2501900 V9001 minus 25000 V25001 V75 kV. Above 75 kV 9 mm 3 feet 1.2 meter 4 feet 1.5 meter 5 feet 1.8 meter 6 feet 2.5 meters 8 feet 1. To M 4 feet 1.5 meter 5 feet 1.8 meters 6 feet 2.5 meters 8 feet 3.0 meters 10 feet 1 5 and 5 feet 1.8 meters 6 feet 2.8 meters 9 feet 3.0 meters 10 feet 3. 7 M 12 feet 1 condition 1 exposed live parts on one side of the working space and no live or grounded parts on the other side of the working space, or exposed live parts on both sides of the working space that are effectively guarded by insulating materials. 2 condition 2 exposed live parts on one side of the working space and grounded parts on the other side of the working space. Concrete, brick, or tile walls shall be considered as grounded. 3 condition 3 exposed live parts on both sides of the working space. Permanent and conspicuous danger signs shall be provided. The danger sign shall meet the requirements in 11021B and shall read as follows: danger high voltage, keep out the illumination. Illumination shall be provided for all work ing spaces about electrical equipment. Control by automatic means only shall not be permitted. The lighting outlets shall be arranged so that persons changing lamps or making repairs on the lighting system are not endangered by live parts or other equipment. The points of control shall be located so that persons are not likely to come in contact with any live part or moving part of the equipment while turning on the lights. The elevation of unguarded live parts. Unguarded live parts above working space shall be maintained at elevations not less than required by Table 11030 for E. F. Protection of service equipment, switchgear, and industrial control assemblies. Pipes or ducts foreign to the electrical installation and requiring periodic maintenance, or whose malfunction would endanger the operation of the electrical system, shall not be located in the vicinity of the service equipment, switchgear, or industrial control assemblies. Protection shall be provided where necessary to avoid damage from condensation leaks and breaks in such foreign systems. Piping and other facilities shall not be considered foreign if provided for fire protection of the electrical installation. 110.36 Circuit conductors. Circuit conductors shall be permitted to be installed in raceways, in cable trays, as metal-clad cable type MC, as bare wire, cable, and busbars, or as type MV cables or conductors as provided in 300.37, 300.39, 300.4, and 300.5.
Bare live conductors shall comply with 490.24.
Insulators, together with their mounting and conductor attachments, were used as supports for wires, single conductor cables, or busbars, shall be capable of safely withstanding the maximum magnetic forces that would prevail if two or more conductors of a circuit were subjected to short circuit current.
Exposed runs of insulated wires and cables that have a bare lead sheath or a braided outer covering shall be supported in a manner designed to prevent physical damage to the braid or sheath.
Supports for lead-covered cables shall be designed to prevent electrolysis of the sheath.
110.41 Inspections and tests.
A PI energization and operating tests, where required elsewhere in this code, the complete electrical system design, including settings for protective, switching, and control circuits, shall be prepared in advance and made available on request to the authority having jurisdiction, and shall be tested when first installed on site.
B. Test report. A test report covering the results of the tests required in 11041A shall be available to the authority having jurisdiction prior to energization, and made available to those authorized to install, operate, test, and maintain the system.
Part 4.
Tunnel installations over 1000 volts. Nominal 110.51 General.
Covered. The provisions of this part shall apply to the installation and use of high-voltage power distribution and utilization equipment that is portable, mobile, or both, such as substations, trailers, cars, mobile shovels, draglines, hoists, drills, dredges, compressors, pumps, conveyors, underground excavators, and the like.
The other articles.
The requirements of this part shall be additional to, or amendatory of, those prescribed in Articles 100 through 490 of this code. See protection against physical damage. Conductors and cables in tunnels shall be located above the tunnel floor and so placed or guarded to protect them from physical damage.
110.52 Overcurrent protection.
Motor-operated equipment shall be protected from overcurrent in accordance with Parts 3, 4, and V of Article 430. Transformer shall be protected from overcurrent in accordance with 450.3.110.53 conductors.
High-voltage conductors in tunnels shall be installed in metal conduit or other metal raceway, type MC cable, or other approved multi-conductor cable. Multi-conductor portable cable shall be permitted to supply mobile equipment. 110.54 Bonding and equipment grounding conductors are grounded and bonded. All non-current carrying metal parts of electrical equipment and all metal raceways and cable sheaths shall be solidly grounded and bonded to all metal pipes and rails at the portal and at intervals not exceeding 300 meters 100 feet throughout the tunnel. The equipment grounding conductors. An equipment grounding conductor shall be run with circuit conductors inside the metal raceway or inside the multi-conductor cable jacket. The equipment grounding conductor shall be permitted to be insulated or bare. 110.55 Transformers, switches, and electrical equipment. All transformers, switches, motor controllers, motors, rectifiers, and other equipment installed below ground shall be protected from physical damage by location or guarding. 110.56 Energized parts. Bare terminals of transformers, switches, motor controllers, and other equipment shall be enclosed to prevent accidental contact with energized parts.